I got a request from Oscar to look at a popular Disney film about a pair of twins who attempt to bring their parents back together. I'm of course talking about The Parent Trap, specifically the 1998 version starring Lindsay Lohan. While I do have a preference for the 1961 version with Hayley Mills, I think this Parent Trap has its occasional charms. The highlight of this movie is Lindsay Lohan's performance. I think she helps elevate the material of her acting here, and it's a tricky role she's required to play. Not just because she's playing the two twins, Annie and Hallie, but director Nancy Meyers also made the decision to give them different nationalities. And then when the twins switch places, Lohan is required to play an American girl attempting to do a British accent, and the British twin putting on an American accent. There are actually little subtle choices Lohan makes in playing Annie when she goes to California, as she makes the decision to pronounce some words a certain way. The other remarkable element here is the effect of showing two Lohans on screen together. The split screen is seamless, with Meyers pulling off scenes that might have been difficult to achieve when they were testing this technology back in 1961. The film's cinematographer Dean Cundey previously shot the Back to the Future sequels, so he has had practice in this area. Of course, the movie sometimes uses a body double, and even then they come up with clever camera moves to disguise this fact. Meanwhile, Dennis Quaid and Natasha Richardson are also quite good as the parents, and the few times they share screen time together, they have really sweet chemistry. I find the movie spends far too much time on Quaid's fiancée, when I'd rather see more moments between him and Richardson. If you've been watching me long enough, you might know that I'm extremely pedantic when it comes to the definition of remake, especially in regards to film adaptations of books that have been brought to the screen on previous occasions. The Thing, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Coppola's Dracula are not remakes. There are a few exceptions though, when the filmmakers take more inspiration from a film version rather than the original source material. The Parent Trap is one of those exceptions, as it follows the '61 film rather closely, and so calling it a remake is acceptable. Eric Costner's book, Lottie and Lisa, has actually been adapted for the screen a lot, with versions hailing from all over the world, including the United Kingdom, Japan, Poland, Sweden, and of course, Costner's native Germany. But this movie definitely took the most influence from Disney's The Parent Trap. David Swift, who directed and wrote the earlier Parent Trap, is even credited as a co-writer on the screenplay. Speaking of the screenplay, while there are some funny scenes here and there and a few genuine moments, I think the dialogue given to Lohan sounds too much like what an adult would write, rather than what an 11-year-old girl would say. But it's a credit to Lohan that she makes the dialogue somewhat work. A problem I tend to have with Meyers films is they are often about 20 minutes too long, and Parent Trap suffers from this too. I realize this sounds like an odd criticism because it runs about the same length as the 1961 movie, but I thought that version flowed better. Part of this reason is because the '61 version spent more time with the parents and the girls together, bonding and reuniting. Watching this movie, I just kept waiting for the parents to finally meet up again. When they go on the camping trip in the third act, I thought we were nearing the end, but there were still 30 minutes left. Those issues aside, I do think this Parent Trap is an ultimately harmless escapade that does the job of entertaining its target audience. I actually saw this film in its original release, though even back then I still had a preference for the Hayley Mills version. And while one of the few departures it makes is not having the twins sing the Sherman Brothers song Let's Get Together for their parents, there is a cute little nod to that song in one scene that I appreciated. What I suggest doing is watching both Parent Traps and deciding for yourself which one you think is better.